What's up? How you guys doing? So yeah, right now one thing I'm watching ETH. Uh, I'd like to see a deeper retracement because I drew this 4-hour zone, but it is a pivot zone, and oftentimes in the 4-hour we're going to get farther up into these supply zones. At least this last candle, if not the fractal, which is going to be the wick here. So I am watching it though. We got one market structure break onto the downside, pretty quick return back up in origin. You can barely even tell it returned to origin before this wick down happened. Pushed back up in there, broke that newly found low time frame demand. But when we look at the 1 minute, and this is why we can use different time frames for confirmation. We look at the 1 minute. Okay, when we had that market structure break in the 15-minute, newly introduced demand pushed us back up to return to origin of the supply. That supply then overtook demand. So then we watch for price to return up to supply on the 1 minute. All right. So we overtook that demand. Now there's no confirmation in the 1 minute. This is why you can really become a little more picky, I guess, if you will. Now maybe it's this supply. I don't know. We'll watch. But I'm not convinced yet. I don't have what I need in order to go short just yet. I can change pretty quickly, but you want to make sure that you're always mindful. I'm mindful that, depending on how you draw it, if we're drawing the last, the pivot zone, the last up candles before the down move, well, then, we are in a 4-hour zone. But, a lot of times, I think we went over this in the last couple of streams, that price oftentimes will move into these higher zones, like the more refined zones. So, that being said, we can be mindful of where we're at. What is this? I think this is just equilibrium. Yeah. We're also getting closer to being at a premium. We're not necessarily on a 4-hour premium yet, so you can use that as well as some confluence to maybe be a little more patient. But yeah, right now I guess where I'm at is, we've established our London low here. I'd like to see a New York retracement, but I don't have any reason to see that just yet. I mean, I've got the beginning of that framework. We've got our idea, but we have no opportunity just yet. Now that can change pretty quickly, but this, I would really consider this our 15-minute flip zone. Like price is just now returning to that on the 1 minute. So at this time, I'm going to need a 1 minute market structure break and then 2 to confirm that supply has been flipped. So we can watch, I'd say this level right here, see how we react to it. Another thing to keep in mind is you want to look at the dollar index. It's always good to look at. The dollar index looks pretty bullish, if you ask my opinion. We've made higher low here, higher. It looks like we just put in another higher low. You got that change of character in the 15-minute internal structure, return back down to origin. It happened pretty quickly here, but demand is being respected. So we, that would go along with the short narrative. Also, there are high time frames, 4 hour, everything's still pretty bearish. We don't really have the premium discount of the high time frame range on our side yet with Ethereum. Bitcoin we do though, so you need to keep that in mind. Now here we can watch, see how price wants to react here. GM to Zach on YouTube. Yeah, let's look at a couple other setups that we're developing. Happened this morning. I took a little Bitcoin short earlier, but it's already been trimmed, so it was pretty early during the New York kill zone. So here with AVAX, so if we look at this 4 hour, we came up into this nice supply. We cleared a lot of highs. I just think we stopped out the early shorts. Again, we don't really have that. Definitely don't have premium here yet. So that's something to keep in mind. So you want to make sure you are a little bit more conservative and go for more of a confirmed, I guess you'd say, approach. So really here, price came down. We got our first break of structure there. If you want to get technical, it probably happened up here. I just can't, I don't have the benefit of, the rewind feature only allows per candle. But if you look price, this candle pushed below this candle's low. I'm not sure if this high was made before that, because for instance, if this candle here, this high was made, well, then that's a low. If that low is taken, that's your initial change of character. I don't have the benefit of seeing how that exactly played out, but if we go to 1 minute, you can kind of tell. So if you see, let's actually mark exactly what time. I think it was 6:45, 6:30, the low between 6:30 and 6:45. So the low was cleared first. That made a new high. So here was your initial change of characters. That was that right here. That you don't have to worry about that. So at this point, I would look at our market structure break really as this level right here. Is how I drew it earlier. I didn't want to take a closer look at this live with you guys, but we came down. We got that internal structure break. Now we look for price to return up to this level. There's also a fair value gap. These highs that are forming could be producing some buy side liquidity. It's also 10 a.m. It would be nice to see a sharp run up into some of this liquidity. We might not get it, but that would be nice. And then at that time, you could look for price to reverse within this level. Maybe it was this supply and this fair value gap is enough fuel, but I'm not going to chase it. I'd like to see maybe a sharp push up clearing this liquidity and then a 1 minute change of character. So that's kind of what I'm watching for right now. Let's go look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still, I think that we got an early little trade here, presented itself, but it's very quick in and out. Not really the greatest opportunity, but it was confirmed, if you will, as a more probable alternative than to waiting. But what I'd like to see here, I think I marked it up. We have this supply here and this fractal supply right here. So at this time, what you really want to see is that you want to see price shift to the downside. Now, there is the the contrary, that this could be a buy day, and this was really the nice liquidity raid, during the stock market open. Usually that doesn't happen that early, but sometimes it does. Now, if that's the case, you're gonna, we see this London low protected, that demand here got respected. So, while the high time frames are bearish, you still have to be aware of both perspectives, because I do see that the long, but I just, me personally, I'm not really a fan of longing this. There were longs that presented themselves last night. Some of you guys caught them. And what's up, Ian, on YouTube? But yeah, that's kind of just what I'm watching right now. I'm letting everything develop. I don't think there's any point in um, rushing and forcing anything just yet. I don't think that that's a good idea. We also have this usually right around this time. There's some news that comes out, just general financial news, not necessarily with crypto, but that affects markets. It'll affect the dollar. So we might see that liquidity rate here, and then again watch for that setup to form. Those highs have gotten swept twice now. What would the 15-minute structure be at this point? Super wiki. This demand is seeming to be respected, but time will tell with that. Not really confirmed enough for me. Yeah, sure, we got this internal structure break and then this right here. So that would lead more to that narrative. But as of right now, 15 market structure or 15-minute market structure on pretty much everything still bullish. So, in order to really get that confirmation, you can wait for swing structure, or you can use internal structure and be a little more aggressive. So, but if you are going to be aggressive like that, you need to take profits in the same manner. For instance, if we took shorts here, you need to take profits at these lows right here in this demand. If you're trading counter trend, you can use demand. I preferably use structure whenever I'm trading pro trend. And if you're trading counter trend, you can use demand or supply if you're longing, I guess. But internal liquidity rather than external. Another thing to watch is just gonna watch. I'm not gonna trade off this at all. I don't like where it's sitting, but I'll watch this fair value gap. Do you have any other time frames? Seems like on 1, 2, 3, 5 minute, there's a fair value gap fill right there. So I said if I can peep total crypto market cap, yeah, sure. Some of these concepts are going to be a little different on total market cap, but generally speaking, you can kind of use them as a guide. Approaching that 4-hour supply, not yet in it. So that's it's not necessarily where it needs to be, I guess, where you'd look for that reversal, because you want to wait till you're in those POIs. Same thing goes, that's what I was saying with ETH. I'll stay on this for a second, but basically the total market cap is the same as Bitcoin. You're just in this range. You're counting back up to equilibrium. It seems like supply is pretty clear in control at this point, but we might see this high get taken if we don't get a reversal here. This high is probably going to get taken, because then it would be a weak high. It did not form a new low. So, really anything that doesn't form a new low, like on the swing structure, You know, if you see this run and then it kind of rounds up back up, you know, usually it'll get taken. It's just going to be more induced early shorts. So, you know, those low highs that don't make new lows, they're all weak. So they're probably going to get taken at some point. That's why you see, like on Bitcoin, all of these highs right here. All of these highs right here, everything got taken because it was all weak. So now we look for the weak lows to get taken, you know, ideally. But we always have to wait for that confirmation. You don't ever want to just go gung-ho into something and, you know, force yourself to take a trade that you wouldn't have taken just because, you know, you're latching on to, oh, these weak lows have to be taken. You know, we got to short them, you know. So. So yeah, at this point, just kind of watching. We're just kind of consolidating within the supply. We're at that decisional point, right? Where, you know, you're not necessarily just jumping into stuff, but you do have a potential idea presenting itself. But in order for it to come to fruition in the right way, where you're not going to get stopped out along the way trying to catch that trade, then you need to make sure you wait for that confirmation. Go ahead and wait this out. I don't like when my chart's so cluttered. Should have gone ETH actually. I mean, Ethereum's not looking too strong here, but it's really not in that POI that I want on the 4 hour just yet. I know we drew it and we got to watch it, but
whoa, there's 2 streams going on right now.
what's up?
That's crazy.
Yup, reactive. Holy shit, Animoca Brands has a portfolio over 1.5 billion. It's insane. Honestly, Ethereum's not looking too hot here. Well, if it breaks down at least. The thing is, with that big wick like this, with this at the stock market open, a lot of times that's just a liquidity raid. You cleared out pretty much all the sell side from this little local range we had developed since the London session, except of course your London low, and you respected that newly introduced demand at your London low. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This would be your London low. Forgive me. Be the low before. Somebody said something about EGLD. I actually haven't looked at EGLD in a while. So. Yeah, I mean, your weekly's bearish. Super bearish. And really, your weekly low is about right where you're at, but I'll still mark all of it up.
Yo, Casper, could you check link for me, please, bro?
Yes, I got you. I'll do that after EGLD.
No worries, bro.
For sure. So I'm here with EGLD. No signs really of a reversal just yet, in my opinion. Still pretty daily, even on the bear, or still pretty daily on the bears. Still pretty bearish on the daily. Liquidity grab, we'll see, but the demand's really not being respected. So until you form demand that we then respect, you know, maybe you get a change of character on the daily of the internal structure, or at least a swing structure break, or anything. But I just don't see much of a signs of a reversal yet from a perspective of market structure. You got a daily high right here. Everything's gonna be the same low on your week as your weekly. The 4 hour, you know, everything.
Yow.
What's up?
What's up?
I didn't realize that was you. I was like, who the hell is that? It sounded different.
I'm thinking of shorting Bitcoin and BNB.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same on Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Okay.
Really?
Sure.
Not
think I wouldn't look for shorts on Bitcoin until maybe like 32,465.
Yeah, I'm not really like
Basically,
looking for an entry yet, but I'm more short biased.
Yeah, that big that distribution pattern we had on the 31st of May took out the last took out the liquidity from the last structural high before 32,650, which is where our 4 hour break of structure is. That'll swap us bullish again.
Yeah, there's definitely supply left. That's what I was saying. Was that we're not really like we're in supply if you draw it certain ways, but if you really want to get a little bit more accurate, I don't think we're necessarily tapped into all of it just yet. But I'm still watching the 15-minute for signs of reversal.
Yeah, because right now in the hourly we're bullish.
Yeah, we're bullish on everything on as low time frames.
The way it is right now is 32,450 is a weak high. So we should expect to see 32,450 get taken out first before shorts.
Yeah, no, I think they're still developing for sure.
If we break there, that should cement 29,200 as our new strong low.
On what, the H1?
Yeah, I'm looking at the 1 hour right now because we broke 31.4 with 32.5, which makes 27.9 our strong low, which is where we hit a quick that makes that our strong low, and then we had a 1 hour change of character on June 3rd, which swapped us back to bullish, which means the higher low could be in place. Which
right. No, the low time frames are
32.4
they're definitely bullish right now, but I'm still you gotta think, like, the way I look at it is like if the 4 hours bearish, then those like strong lows are actually weak lows in reality. They're all weak lows on a different time frame. So that's kind of like that's why I haven't been as long biased. But like, hold on one second, I gotta go grab something. I'll be right back. Oh shit, my bad. I had to grab these scissors. Let's roll me up a little grab a joint. I'm trying to migrate to waking up at like 5 a.m. It's hard over time. So I don't like going to sleep that early. Algo, you have to, what time? It's fucking like what, 8:30 there for you right now, Algo, right? Yeah. Okay, watch Bitcoin while I'm on this. So you were talking about this high right here.
Yes.
Like this whole thing right here.
Right, because you'll see if that high didn't really break any structure to the downside,
exactly.
so that could be considered a weak high.
Yeah. That's what I was saying too. Like with total, exactly. Like anything that doesn't break. Well, I mean, if you're using swing structure, it's a weak high. If you're using like internal structure, I guess it's not. But if, in my opinion, I try to use swing structure if I'm using the high time frame. So really, everything that doesn't clear out this low down here is a weak high. And that's why all these highs got taken, all these early shorts. It just induces early liquidity. It's like that's how Bitcoin likes to play too. It's just max pain. It's like even whenever you think that it's like, oh, it's swept all the liquidity, it'll sweep that again. Like they go for those double liquidity grabs quite often. Bow out of grab leaf. They said, what if I refine the 4-hour spot of 15-minute? Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with doing that. Like almost always, like use that 15-minute to get a better perspective, because you can actually dissect the price action and see like, okay, well, where did the selling start? Where are there actually orders probably left? I highly encourage you to do that, because unless you're using like an inside bar on a high time for like a 4-hour or something, like oftentimes that 4-hour it's going to be wider, especially with crypto, how volatile it is. It's going to be a wider zone than where the actual supply is, and you might get false signals by trying to rush and play that first internal change of character. Whenever those internal changes of character can work well, but the key to being aggressive like that is having a correct POI, because it's easy to draw a really broad 4-hour range. As soon as you tap that range, your brain wants to look for plays, and you're like, oh, here we are. Here's my setup, and you forget that you may not even be where you need to be at. So yeah, I highly encourage using the 15-minute. And sorry guys, bear with me for like 2 seconds. I'm gonna roll this up. I'll be back active on the screen. How you doing, JL? How was your weekend?
Not bad at all. That was what Bitcoin's internal daily structure. Bullish. Wait, internal daily structure again. Yeah. Sorry, I was typing something. Yeah, not too bad. I actually just hopped on my computer.
Yeah, I haven't really
Longs
done
are going
much
crazy right now.
this weekend. I took a wave short on Friday, and then it hit, and I was like, all right, I'm actually gonna not like even look at anything all weekend. And, like, of course, I glanced at like my trading view on my phone, but I didn't really like sit down and. Usually I'll
dude,
still watch, but
those trades that just do all the work for you.
You just don't have to do shit.
Exactly. Like I hopped on my computer and like I don't need to be on my computer right now.
Yeah, I'm that wave short. I took almost full profit, so like I'm not really like itching to take a trade, but I'm definitely like I'm back on. Like whenever I have that trade that says open P&L like that, I'm like, all right, I don't need to look at any more charts. But if it's not, then I'm like, okay, let's keep my eyes peeled. Did you long this like newly introduced demand down here somewhere probably?
Yeah.
Like the liquidity raid.
Yeah, I basically long the liquidity raid. And
Yeah.
I got a 1 minute change of character.
Yeah, after that.
And if you go on the I think it's the 1 hour. Yeah, check the 1 hour. If you go on the 1 hour, you'll see where the liquidity rate is. You see that long ass wick right there, the selling climax wick.
Yeah.
Is that the perp chart?
Yeah.
Draw a fib on it.
Right off equilibrium, looks like.
Yeah. Body the wick.
Oh, body wick.
No, sorry, like body, like exactly
right
how
there,
you just had it.
Yeah,
Like that. So we got a 1 minute change of character on the actual lick rate, and then I waited for a retap of the 0.5 of the selling climax wick.
Nice. Yeah, like as you use it how we were talking about like the other day.
The internal market structure break.
Yeah.
Yeah, go down to the 1 minute. You'll see that one, like that candle is actually very weird.
That's the best way to do it though, isn't it, bro? I'm telling you, like it really is. But it's like you used it in a correct way. Like this is a good example of how to use that. Like you can't just always use it, but like in this situation, it's like, oh, clear liquidity raid.
It's only because there was a lot of confluence around here. Because you'll see there's like a high time frame liquid. You have your internal change of character. You tap the demand zone, and on top of that, you're sitting at optimal trade entry for the swing.
Yeah. So it's
So
like
you're literally like where you want along.
yeah. So you like let all those. That's the key that I want everybody to take away from that is like all of these different tools that everybody's learning fairly quickly. You got to remember they're not meant to be used by themselves, and preferably you want to use all of them together. You want to use liquidity, you want to use market structure. Well, you always use market structure, and then you can maybe pair that with liquidity. Maybe you pair with supply and demand, and ideally you want to pair with both. And I've noticed that crypto, I mean, like the price action's pretty choppy, but if you wait for inducement to get cleared because a lot of the time crypto you see inducement, like a lot, like you'll see the change of character, and then it'll hit, like a supply that you think is the supply, and you think you missed the shorts, and then you play that second, entry, and then you get stopped out only for the trade to go
Yeah,
along
that was
its
a
way.
huge problem when I first got into smart money. You'd think you'd hit your entry, so
And it
you'd
didn't.
market fill, and then like you'd market fill like at the top, and then it pulls back.
I
Yeah.
don't market fill. Go look at BNB.
I
It's
got
looking
you.
interesting for a short.
Oh, un momentum, almost done with this joint.
You could go back to 302 from where it's at right now. I'm just looking for scalps. But yeah, I'm trading stocks. I'll be back.
Gotcha.
Shit's busting, bro.
What
Busting.
stocks? That's another thing
Oh,
too, is
man.
that the NOS and shit like that looks like it might want to
Look at this.
make some
Look at this
moves.
fill that I got on the Nasdaq. Hang on.
Wait, so that place where I entered my longs, can you go to the 1 minute and tell me if I use that internal market structure break correctly?
Yes, give me un momento. Almost done.
I filled
Okay,
this
now I'm
order
finally
block on a
done.
15-minute.
Oh, shit. Ooh, I just about dropped my weed.
I'm
I
about
did.
to long Euro USD in a bit when it breaks below this.
Yeah, look at DXY. You should.
Algo, be careful. It's a European bank holiday.
I
Shut
know.
up, John.
That's why I didn't go. That's why I didn't go long on Euro USD like Flyers did this morning. I was waiting for this fair value gap at the 705 to get filled. Right here, it's like at $1.06.
Yeah,
down here below 50%.
How'd those Euro longs go or Euro shorts?
I was in gold shorts.
Euro shorts are printing.
No, I was talking to John. Weren't you asking me to analyze like analyze some forex?
I don't know. I don't know. I took gold shorts. That's it though.
So here with that internal
else.
structure, Jo, like I'll just draw it and just tell me if this is how you did it. So
below. You'll see it's that big black handle right there.
So like here and then
so
really
I put my change of character you see where that next where it wicked past? Yeah, right there. That's where I put my line.
That's right. That's
so
okay.
that was my change
right.
of character.
Yeah, that's right. See, most
so
people would have just used that. And like here's the thing is like, I mean, I just don't get it. Like I see a lot of people on Twitter like this was their but here's the thing. It yielded the same entry realistically. But that doesn't always happen, and most people don't understand. It's like, that was literally your change of character because this candle's
your
high.
internal pullback. Exactly.
So yeah, that's the difference between wondering what the fuck happened and also really once you understand and you develop like it is that technical, and you also detach from the perspective that like this is just the time frame you're looking at. Like this in the 15-second was a totally different monster. I mean, that was much clearer there, and you might not always get the clear depiction of what you're searching for on your time frame. That's why it's key to really understand how technical market structure is. Internal structure. If you wick a pip above it, that's a break of structure. So it's like you did that 100% right. Like that's, and then really you could look at it like this. Like that was your original market structure break. And this was your newly introduced supply to send you down to origin of wherever this was in the demand was, probably like right there. And then that was your flip zone. And then this right here was your zone, or sorry, this right here was your, newly found demand. And you could have used, see, that's how, you could, well, or you theoretically, you could draw this whole whatever. Again, on the 15 seconds to be clear, because I don't know how far this went. You know, after it, like I don't know if it came up, hit, broke structure, came way back down, then came. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't matter, especially when you're trying to.
Yeah, it
know
looks
what I
like you
mean?
hit the fractal demand zone of that.
Yeah.
The
It
body, the
through
wick
it
of that zone right there.
right here. It wicked through this inside bar, which is where you would have thought. But you know, either
So you
way,
probably would have gotten stopped out, but I most likely it's a 1
I
minute,
wouldn't
so I would
see
have put my stops like lower.
exactly. I wouldn't always do that because like with Forex, you can get away with that kind of shit, but not with crypto.
Yeah, there's a lot of volatility.
Yeah, with
I had
crypto,
my
a
stops
bigger
at 29
stop.
220 anyways, which should be our strong low. So
Yeah,
that's
that's the
where
thing, is, like-
obviously a lot of money's protecting that low.
Yeah, when you have that lick rate, it's like, bro, always, in my opinion, throw the stops down there. And then it's like, oh, well, if the TA, because a lot of people be like, oh, well, my risk to reward isn't good enough. It's like, well, don't take it. You know, and that's the good way to, you know, even if you just had something like this, I mean, that's not, I'm sorry, like this, it's not terrible. It's like almost, I probably wouldn't have taken just that. But remember, you know, you were using that 15-minute for your
Oh, there goes
TA. So
BNB.
it's like, oh, shit, I forgot about BNB.
It's okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a short right now. I just wanted you guys to get into the short too.
No, I know, I forgot.
'Cause it
That's
looks
what I'm
juicy.
saying. Like, I wanted to peep it. So 15 minute or 4 hour.
I was trading off of the 1 hour chart, to be fair. It broke structure to the downside on the 1 hour chart. I was expecting that pull back to the upside, which it did. Hit the 50% of the fair value gap, and we're trading down now. The little scalp.
Oh,
I know the market's bullish, but the stock market's not supporting this bullish volume, and they kind of go hand in hand now.
I don't even think. I mean, I think we're bullish on like the low time frames, but I don't think anything's yet as bullish about crypto personally, except like hour 1 and under.
Yeah, the stock boys are about to long crypto miners, so that's why I came in here real quick and asked you Bitcoin or short.
Right. Oh yeah.
Bro,
Also,
I got the nastiest entry on Nasdaq. Bro. It was I literally got wicked in. I've never had such a nasty entry into Nasdaq ever. Like I had absolutely zero drawdown.
hell yeah.
It was instantly in profits. Like it
Those
jumped
are always the most fun.
fucking bro, it jumped like 50 pips.
This is
Like I
weird
literally
right here.
saw nothing and then $1,000 in
Actually,
the
no, it's
account.
not.
Thanks
Fun.
for the ad, Algo.
ETH
The
actually
fuck
looks
you mean,
pretty
bro?
clean for sure. Like, okay, so
Thanks for the ad.
on the ETH we had, or on the ETH on the 15-minute we had that
You
market
sound like a
structure
boomer
break
on the ETH.
on the ETH, the Ethereum. That's how people fucking say. I've heard people say Ethereum. I'm like, don't ever fucking say that again.
What? What are you talking about, my pee hole?
There was somebody in crypto vibes forever that used to always say Ethereum, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill myself.
Shit. Yo, crypto might break out. Go look at Coinbase stock when you're done with this one. Coinbase is breaking out like heavy.
Didn't they just
It's
didn't they
up.
just implement
God.
something?
It's like up $4 or $5. Like stocks don't pump like this.
Yeah.
And it's pumping.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Glacier's gonna get paid too. He long Tesla.
Didn't he also long coin or not long coin? Didn't he buy shares of coin somewhere?
I bought shares of coin.
Oh.
Sizing into Coinbase, and I got 100 shares of Amazon.
So here, man, I mean,
Yeah,
this,
I saw that we gapped up today.
Yeah, it's
So,
a good day, bro.
really with Ethereum, you got that 15-minute structure break, that newly
Mhm.
introduced demand pushed you back up in here. Then you broke that newly introduced demand. That would be your 15-minute flip. It happened extremely quickly, but you can
Would
look
you
at it
just
on
say
the 1
that
minute.
was a liquidity rate to the downside, or
No, that was
liquidity
earlier.
rate.
That was on Bitcoin. Whenever that was like before this big run up. If you're talking about what we were talking about.
yeah, because it kind of looks like this. Everything in stocks we broke down, and it just I don't know. It sniffed some crack or something. I don't know. It just like green candles. So
Yeah, that's always sketchy to me.
Yeah, you got that W right there going on.
Yeah, I mean this too. Like,
The M.
let's
I don't
see.
like that.
Really,
You're right.
I mean, let's see. There's a break. Okay, if we can break this down here, and maybe get a closure, I would possibly look to short. Because if I look at a 15-minute, now it's 15-minute, we got that internal structure break right there. And you can't really see it here. It looks like there's just this huge candle after it. You might want to use that. But really, if you go to the 1 minute, you can see this wasn't a high. So we can see this is its own new range. There's that volume coming in.
John, you see this?
1 second.
Huh? What? Oh,
Which one?
I'm not
Top
getting in
left?
this. I want to
Yeah.
plot this
Oh,
out.
damn, that is a snipe.
And then look at this.
Very
It's
funny.
going for it right here. So just watch this level. Right here.
Bet. Is that? Oh yeah, that's you.
Yeah, and then when you're done with that one, Casper, go look at GBP JPY. It looks like I'm gonna be coming up to a short too. Because I know you've been trading Forex, right?
1505. No, I've been paper trading it, and then I had basically I have like an account that's like literally was like $500 in it. So it's like, yeah, I guess I'm trading it. I'm looking to probably do that challenge here soon though, just because I want to start trading it. The only thing that's holding me back is I don't want to put my money into it because I like trading crypto, but if I don't have to put my money into it except just a challenge like the deposit or whatever, then that's a different story.
Yeah. John, I think we could short right here. GBP JPY. Right over here.
This isn't a bad setup here, to be quite honest.
Algo, is there a reason you use like the 61 minute and like the 241 minute instead of like?
Yeah,
hours?
it's full hours. So 61 is a full hour, and so is 241. I also use a 390 because it's a full trading session, full 6.5 hours.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm just fucking weird like that. People ask me all the time. I'm just it's something like I know this guy, Casper knows him too. His name's Omni. And
Fucking Omni.
He's special, bro, but his shit works, but like I don't know how to explain it. It's I don't know. It used to work really fucking well, and using his algorithms, I developed the notion of using these time frames, the 61, 77, 90, 241, 390. It's just actual time frame, like the market broken down into sessions, like quarter session, half a session, full session.
Yeah, Ethereum might just want to dip here. I'm not gonna chase anything. I'm just watching this develop. I'm interested because we haven't really got like the 15 minutes still. You'd theoretically bullish depending on how you drive. It's pretty wicky, but you'd say this is probably your swing right here. I guess I don't know. I mean, this is a lot of just noise. But you're in that 4-hour zone. It's not refined though. That's the main thing with me. You're just in and there's still inefficiency above. But the 15 minutes looking like shit. We've got that internal market structure break. You got that flip zone like we talked about right there, this low, because that was a newly introduced demand that brought you back to origin. Newly introduced supply, bam, cleared that. Inducement got swept. So then after you come back into that flip zone, this is really the M15. I don't know why. I guess I clicked the wrong one. Now, once you go into that M1 or M15, you watch the M1 to shift internal structure right there. First shift. What demand brought us back up to origin? This wick. What broke this? Right there. I would look at this personally. They're both 971. This is where I'd look. But you did come up and fill that fair value gap.
You shorting that?
I'm not gonna short it. I'm just gonna watch it and see how it develops. Because the thing is with me is I don't like where we're at on the 4-hour yet, all the way and up. I like it. We're in the zone. These are both up candles. But with the 4 hour, I would like us to come up into this fractal demand personally, and also that would be in premium of the 4 hour swing range. So that's the reasons I'm not really like just aping into it, but I do see that okay, if you draw the 4 hour supply a little more liberally, then we come down and we get that. We're getting everything we would want to get, had we refined our zone, or for me, had I refined my zone. And you really haven't seen this London low get protected yet. You've built sell side liquidity here. Um, another thing too is the risk to reward. Like for me, yeah, there's liquidity at the London low, but if this is a buy day, that's going to get protected. There's also that demand right there with liquidity above. There would be a sweep in order to push down there, so you could see a reversal there. Another thing too, we didn't really get like a nice liquidity rate on Ethereum, like to the upside. So that's kind of like where for me, I'm like, but I still want to see how it reacts to this, or if it reacts. And just
Damn, you know what I just realized?
what?
Hold on. I'm checking chat logs right now. Yo, Glacier been mad quiet.
Yeah, the homie probably studying up or something, or maybe there's people at his house and he can't talk.
Is he okay?
Yeah,
Oh, he didn't get
He's
COVID
straight.
again.
Glacier's been going hard.
No, he didn't sound like that. He was talking earlier. He just sounded a
okay.
little tired.
I haven't seen him pop into the chat lately.
He doesn't have the same energy as he usually does, but he's chilling.
So Algon GJ, you're looking at that drop based job, right?
Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm looking at a fucking what is it called? MMSM right here. It's basically what's gonna happen.
The thing is I'm looking at that like little imbalance above with that like supply zone up there.
Which one?
Like the
This?
imbalance like on a 4 hour right at that like area you got marked up right above it.
This right here, this imbalance.
Yeah.
I would be looking at that, but this handy dandy JL volume indicator doesn't show me heavy volume there like it does in this pivot point right here. The only other area I would like is up here.
Your
This
pivot
right here.
point.
Another thing too with Bitcoin here is that we're getting that kind of like what you would price pushed above that old swing high that we established after the New York session open, like the kind of the New York high. It pushed above it, but on the 1 minute, I mean, I don't really see the kind of reversal. Like if that's more of an ICT setup, and what you'd want to see is like this structure, but you want to see more displacement with this move
Yeah.
down. So I'm not
This
really
is good structure, but you're most likely just getting a reaction off the 4 hour supply zone.
exactly.
Just
It's
like
not
it's
like
just creating a pullback, not a
Yeah.
reversal.
exactly. Like you don't see like, for instance, you would want to see something like you want to see like a move
If you
up.
can't see the liquidity, you are the liquidity.
You like that?
That's a fact though.
It
That's a fact.
reminds you, bro. Whatever you put up there, because I had just some like my name, but I was like, I got my name here, and then I was like, I want to have something that actually reminds me to like think about that shit. Mang has a good one too.
I have a book on mindset quotes.
That is great.
But this right here is what you'd want to see. Like if you were like, for instance, you'd want to see a fair value gap, like displacement, like that candle. You would want to see the downside would want to be like a full-bodied candle. You don't want to see any wick or like any wicks
not this
dipping
weak ass
into it.
selling.
You want to see something like that with your candle wicks after, and then your entry would be something like in this zone right there. But with what we're seeing down here, if you notice, we have similar structure. That doesn't have to necessarily be a break of swing structure. This can be a break of internal structure. And while you can say okay, well, we broke internal structure here with displacement. I mean, you're not wrong, but that's just not, for me, it's not really what I want to see. Like something, and that's just but it's whenever you're watching price and necessarily you have to like not always just ape into stuff. You can, you know, watch, like, say if you have an idea, like but you know, you need to be clear on whatever triggers your opportunity, whatever that is for you. You know, whether it's a double confirmation entry on the M15, then M1, whatever it is. But if you don't have everything, you still should observe price and study it and watch what happens. That way you just get a feel for it and watch it real time, because back testing is great, but forward testing, in my opinion, is a little better. And it also kind of cultivates a patient mindset to where you realize you don't have to take every trade. You can just watch and just see how they play.
We got hit these Google calls this morning. Ooh, bro.
Actually, I want to leave that up there. That was not a bad, like, on the fly depiction of a fair value gap. I probably could get a picture of a candle and remove the background. But yes, that if Bitcoin, you didn't know, you don't get that. You know, you would have wanted to see us come up above this old high pretty quickly. See this right here, and you know, price would have been like your entry would have been, you know, in the fair value gap, swing high, or recent high. I guess it should be your stop loss. You can just target sell side below, but didn't really get that just yet for me. So, and you also have
Casper.
this newly introduced demand. Oh yeah, Link, bro. My bad. I completely forgot. I got you, bro.
It's tanking, bro. Fuck me, man.
So, came into that premium of your daily range. I mean, Link's looking pretty rough here. I won't lie to you. Or sorry, it's daily. You know, under this, you're bearish. Under on the 4 hour, it's going to be your high, right there. You're really not all the way up, you know, into this zone yet. You could kind of refine this, but in all honesty, when I look to refine it, you know, the way I look at it is, you know, usually you could say, okay, well, I'm going to go for this top inside bar, but look, price broke structure after the inside bar and returned back into it. So to me, that's mitigated. This same thing happened here. Price broke structure, came returned into it, but this right here would be more of my POI, probably within, you know, this wick. You could go down and refine this to like a 15-minute, and however you wanted to draw it. I would probably keep it. I mean, if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could say like this last candle or this last little group of candles above this high. I'm pretty sure that's where you're at. Not yet. Okay, so you could wait and like be a little more refined with it. The 4 hour, I think you're in that zone. If you just draw it like this down here, yeah, that's what it is. If you draw like the whole zone, or maybe this last candle, I guess you could look at it like that. And then if you don't draw that refined on a 15-minute, you know, you're in that zone. That would be not a flip zone. Sorry, that would be just a regular supply. I guess you'd say pivot supply or fractal supply, whatever. So here you got that first initial internal change of character. New supply was introduced in this candle. You haven't really got it. I don't think this has just left the station yet, so I wouldn't really worry. I could be wrong, but I see inducement there. There's a lot of equal highs liquidity. So you could see maybe a little push down, clear some of the sell side out, and then return back up to the buy side. Get into this first M15 POI, and then wait. That's what I would do, because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you're trading against the lower time frame trend. Link looks like it's about to switch bearish here with this move. Wants to, but most stuff you're trading, you know, until we break down and close there, you're still bullish. You're making higher highs and higher lows. So you want to be patient and conservative with those entries. So I don't get that feeling like it's taken away without you. And if it does, that's totally fine. But I wouldn't touch this until up here. I actually will watch this. I haven't traded Link in a long time, so I don't really know how it respects price action, but I'll set an alert and see what happens. What I would look to happen is price maybe clear out the sell side, come back up. You know, you could either, if you're an M15 trader, you could trade that if you wanted. Personally, you'd want to see, or I would want to see on the 1 minute, you know, a change of character, and then taking out that newly introduced demand before I look for an entry. Or you could wait for this whole setup to happen again. You could wait for, you know, because if this is happening in the 1 minute, what I just said I was looking for on the 15-minute, this would be happening again, that internal structure break, because that's all you're viewing. When you're looking at internal structure in the 15-minute, you're looking at swing structure in the 1 minute. So a lot of different ways to attack it, a lot of different entries. So, but just I highly encourage you guys that are new to smart money concepts and market structure and all that. Just it's totally fine to just watch trades. I promise you, there's going to be tons of trades. It's not like you have to rush into stuff. So, but I think there's so many good learning experiences, and this is actually a pretty good example because we could see, okay, this price, once it comes up here, it's going to sweep those equal highs, fill a fair value gap, return to the real origin of this move. Then you could maybe look for that bearish confirmation, especially because you're not in a refined zone. You're just in this, last little zone right here. So I said Unify, Hilltop. Jesus Christ. Is this, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, that pump's not probably going to survive. We'll see, though. This looks like TRX the other day. Yeah, I mean, I would wait for an internal break of structure because you still haven't even got that. This shit could very well keep running. Actually, no, you did right here. Sorry. So you broke down there. Looks like price is returning into that supply that broke it. You do have inefficiencies above, though, so it's kind of weird. And I know that Unify is not a huge market cap either. A lot of sell side or buy side up here in these wicks. You could see that get cleared. But you'd look for this new low to get taken out, and that would be like your M15 flip. The price action is kind of spotty here. It's similar to Ethereum's, but you got that break of structure to the downside on your internal structure. Okay, so then what do we look for? That demand to push us back up to mitigate, and this can happen extremely fast. So here we could look for price to come up wherever the supply is within here. You could refine that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, and then wait for this to be broken, and then look for that pivot point on the 1 minute. That would be your ideal POI. But again, with Unify, I don't know how price action really is respected here. I mean, I'm sure it is, but with a lot of these coins, you don't want to go past the 15-minute, in my opinion. Like a lot of super shit coins. I mean, you can definitely get good trades off the M1 for sure, but you're gonna have to be patient because you might get stopped out. You have to just monitor it a lot more because the price action is weird and it might raid the liquidity and then give the same exact setup again. So, and also they're just volatile. So a lot of the stuff we're using is based off of trying to copy institutions in a way. And so you got to think like how many institutions are trading this or how many algorithms are being ran in this market. You have to be mindful of all that when you're trading these, I guess, shit coins, as you'd say.
Like the market maker would say, just remember that you're one person. Institutions have hundreds of people in different time zones.
Yeah.
Playing against you.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Thank you, JL.
Huh? For what?
Just say you're good.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Don't question it, bro. Just go with it.
Also, EZ said, love your channel, Discord, asked about a Discord. Yeah, it's PlayBit. The link is actually, if you go to some of my other videos, the link or in my bio is there. And you can use my code, which is just Casper, for a discount if you do decide to sign up. Sorry, I just now saw you said that was like a while ago. I kind of suck at watching the YouTube comments. Sometimes I'll try to be better at it. But StreamYard, which is what I use to stream, is kind of doesn't really give me like a notification or anything. Yeah, I can chart Bitcoin dominance too. I'm just not seeing that. Oh, wow. Wow. It's getting high. So let's just say, when is this? Last time this happened. I want to look at October 20th, 2021. Just look at total. That was on October 20th. We're starting to get up into this area where we're seeming to end of the cycle where you have that last little alt run, like after a major pullback. That's a lot of times what happens when Bitcoin dominance drops. That's pretty interesting. To the last time that this kind of mitigation happened, because if this is just curious. If you want to use the last candle before displacement, it kind of hit. I'm just curious. This is July 31st. That was when Bitcoin was starting to run really hard. I remember. I don't even need to look really. It's usually right before a pullback, it looks like, though. Like a pretty big pullback in Bitcoin. What was ETH doing July 31st? That's when ETH was pushing. That could be a little sign of like an alt push, in all honesty, but I still would want other confluences with that. But it's good to have that context. I'm actually glad you brought that up. So that could signal for another little push of alts. I mean, you see that seasonality, which is using like kind of history to see when when different context occurs, what kind of trade setups have formed. But there, I just saw really two different ones. I saw like the second one was the beginning of a distribution cycle, and the second was kind of where you're pushing. But both of them resulted in alts moving a little bit. So that's just something to keep in mind. And you can also, I mean, I've never traded Bitcoin dominance, but I remember there was a time where I was charting it and using like the 15-minute stuff, you could actually catch some nice trades on it, which is weird because it's not like, there are markets, or there is a market for it due to the orders being placed on futures because people can trade it there. But other than that, it's weird how it reacts to price action. That's why I said ADA. So, yes, actually, we were talking about this in chat last night. This is what I said was going to happen. Was that we had this weak high here? Like this had to get cleared because on the 4-hour, we're in a bearish market, right? This is bearish. So when we came up all the way up here, and then we made a new low, new high, but that low didn't get taken. So once that happens, that produces what we have here, which is a weak high. So that weak high is going to get taken. If you start to see signs of a reversal, maybe swing structure in the 15-minute, a 4-hour, change of care, whatever it is, you see signs of reversal here, then that high is going to get taken. It's like 9 times out of 10. There's also a lot of liquidity there. You did hit up into this supply. It looks like I can fill that fair value gap. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you got that was actually a pretty nice setup to short. Pretty clean. So you broke down, came up, bam, had that, broke down, and then now, you could aim to look for this up here, but it doesn't, necessarily look like we're going to get that. So it seems the kind of aggressive entry here would have been fun. Like you could have traded a 15-minute here and been golden, but yeah, I wouldn't chase that one. What's Bitcoin doing? Just trying to get what we wanted earlier. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Just filling that 1-minute fair value gap up. Not seeming to really hold though. I mean, your internal low would be right here. So you have rated the buy side. Coming into 10:30, this is where you usually see that raid into London close, and then you'll see a reversal a lot of times. That was what you were talking about earlier. We didn't really get that nice displacement, and that's why some of those setups, they don't really work well on crypto as much as they would like indices or Forex. Specifically indices, they work really well on. So really the what I'd be waiting on for Bitcoin is for this internal structure break, and then whatever newly introduced supply is there. That's where I'd aim to short from. ETH may have got away from us. We'll see though. I'm gonna watch this. I think that we'll get a return up here, but I don't know if this trade setup. When I say she got away from us, like I don't necessarily mean she's gonna fall from here, but you know this exact setup, it may not be what you want to enter on later, because by that point a lot of structure could have shifted. Because if you get, there's no like specific time for, you know, oh, if we go this far without my limit being hit, I'm out. It's not really that, but it's just that if different structure develops that is adverse to your entry, you know, in that time being, it's not good to just set a limit and forget about it and come back later. Because, you know, say if price comes way down here and clears out all your targets, you know, then it switches it's going to blast through you. So because, you know, the market's offering the sell side liquidity now, it's removed all of your targets, removed all of that buy side liquidity. Or I'm sorry, I just said that backwards. Sell side liquidity. Forgive me. And for those, if I confused any of you, sell side liquidity is area where there might be sell stops, you know, lows. You know, people that are longing, their stop losses are going to be under it. People that are aiming to go short on breakouts, they're going to wait for the break and they're going to short. And then buy side liquidity is, you know, your highs or liquidity above you, because that is where buy stops to cover shorts. You know, people that are shorting, their stop losses, they're technically buy stops. So that's where those buy stops are going to be placed to remove them from their shorts. So you got to be always mindful of what liquidity is being offered and what liquidity is, you know, what's been rated recently. Like if you see a push to the upside, it gets rated, you know, oftentimes you're going for the lower part of that range. Depending, you know, if you get those signs like that, that raid can give you an idea, and then your execution framework will give you an opportunity. But until you have both of those together, you can't really act. And once you get that mindset really like ingrained in your head, you won't care to miss trades and chase them, because you're like, oh, well, I didn't have a trade because it didn't meet my criteria. So once you can think of it from that perspective, you'll be able to kind of calm yourself. Because I know a lot of people, when they're trading smart money starting out, they always think like they've messed up or they've missed their order block or whatever, and they chase stuff, and then, you know, those little losses are totally unnecessary. So now we've came down, tapped this sell side liquidity, didn't clear it. Now it would be ideal as if we left that there, which I don't know if we will. I don't know if we won't. Probably won't. You're pretty close to it. But for instance, if you saw maybe there was some demand here that gets respected, like price reverses, then comes to your, then, you know, the liquidity has not been removed from the market, and you can still target that. That actually gives you more of a target because there's more liquidity built up there, because all these early longs, you know, if we do reverse there's going to be people that are going to buy, and they're going to put their stop loss right there. I don't think that's going to happen here necessarily. There's no reason to think that yet. I'm just trying to give you guys a example. I'll move this over here. I'll leave it there for later. Again, the ideology behind this, I'm not going to take that, but I am going to watch it. Now, if we look at the 4 hour, I want to just start back over. For those of you who've been here the whole time, I know you've seen this, but you know, we're in this supply zone. You know, this is really a range on the low time frames. It's 3 candles, but it's not refined. You know, we can't really say that the selling, there's a bunch of sell orders for sure where we're at, because, you know, when we're looking to play these supply zones, what we're really looking to do is play the notion that when price returns up here, there's still going to be orders left within the order book, because these algorithms that are spamming price, causing these big moves, you know, creating those inefficiencies between supply and demand, they're putting orders in like this, right? And not all of them are getting filled. So we're playing up the notion that, you know, not only did smart money enter here, and there is a protected high now on the lower time frames if this is, you know, a correct POI and you get a reversal, you know, but that there are orders still left within the market and they're getting mitigated. So when we look at this 4 hour, we don't really have, I would almost want to look for the fractal. supply up there. But we're still here, so we'll see how that goes. 15-minute is showing signs of a reversal. You got an internal market structure break. That you got a supply that was introduced here. So that was that initial internal break. So new demand was introduced to push us back up to that supply. Supply overtook the demand again, so that's going to be a flip. So you'd call a flip because we had demand here, and then price broke through it. So then you'd look here for a flip, and you call this a flip zone. So it's going to be a stronger, supply zone. You can think of it like that because it broke through demand, and it also is the second in a change of character. We had that first shift in structure, and now a second. That kind of proves that this wasn't a lick grab. So then price return, and we go to 1 minute at this point. Price kind of comes down, forms some equal highs, relatively equal. These get swept, like we were saying before. Like oftentimes people that, like for instance, when this happened right here, people shorted this. They're like, oh, I'm gonna set my limit right here. They came in, all that was produced was another weak high because you didn't clear the low, so they got swept out, stopped out right here. But now prices came up, satisfied the supply. Then you have to look how the 1 minute reacts. Okay, well, we're just going to look for the same thing, that internal structure break. So, here was your old internal low, came up, pullback, made a high, made a new low. New high, you clear that low. So then you look at this as your 1 minute change of character. So price, what happens? Price pushes back up into your demand, or I'm sorry, into your supply because of this newly introduced demand. So, this could just be a liquidity grab because you came up, wicked pretty hard. So, you could have taken the risk entry, entered there, stop loss above the swing high, or you could wait for that second break of that demand. And it's the same concept that we're using on that 15-minute. You have that second break, and then right here, that would be where you'd look to enter, or whatever you draw as your supply. You may be, some people draw this whole range. That's a little much for me. I wouldn't ideally want to have that big of a range. So you could refine it and say, okay, well, where was there clear displacement? Breaks the structure right after. I see. This really would be, your institutional candle would be the last candle before displacement. It's the same pretty much. Actually, it might be the exact same high and low. Here, what is it? The high is a little bit higher, but the lows are the same. The lows are 1905.71. So, you could aim to play this if this is how you're going to play it. Something like that if you want to be really crazy, if you're really confident in that zone. But with crypto, you get wicked out often playing like that. So I would probably choose that recent mitigation high. That's all up to you and your risk tolerance. So now we see we cleared out that sell side liquidity. So now that's removed from the market. We're also coming into this fair value gap. I think it was in the 15-minute. Yeah, there's a fair value gap here, and then you have demand down below and your London low. So if this is a buying day and this is just a New York retracement, which you often will see, and then you might see a reversal if you start to see signs of a bullish market structure forming upon this, London demand. You could think of it like that, because on a buy day with currencies, you want to see that London low protected. Another thing too, Bitcoin, I can't remember if it already, oh, it did. Oh yeah, no, it did kind of come down here. It came down and tested on demand that was above this London low, but there still could be, I was looking at this earlier, there still could be some liquidity under there within this candle, because that's really your demand. Either way, now you got that break of structure on Bitcoin, 15-minute internal structure. So you could look at a return up here. But you can get these intraday movements. Like for instance, even if we, we're expecting a return up here, which we might or might not get, but you'd look for, price to come down to this demand. Whenever the sell side liquidity is removed, then you look to the buy side to become offered. You just have to think of it like the market's going to go wherever there's fuel. Like wherever there are orders, it's going to go. So when it goes there and it absorbs all those orders, if it absorbs enough orders, if there's enough buy, if smart money sweep cleaning up those orders, then it's going to push up, vice versa. But that's why you have to look at your areas of liquidity, like trend line liquidity. There's equal lows, equal highs. There's structural liquidity, which is just your regular lows and highs. And then you have your fair value gaps, which is your internal liquidity, along with your inner market structure, like your internal market structure. It came right down to that area we were talking about already. It's 11 a.m. You'd want this to happen usually a little closer to the lunchtime or the afternoon, because we'll still got another hour of good volume most likely. I won't be on
Yeah,
here.
B&B was a
That shit probably.
wicked short, bro.
Yeah, that shit definitely paid.
It's still going. It's going down.
Yeah, I was just say I wouldn't even be out
Going
of
down
it.
300.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I got stopped out of NAS. In profits. It's delicious.
Nice.
I'm looking at GBP, JPY to short it. I'm looking at 1 to 7 trades so far. Should be okay.
I haven't charted this shit on the
And
weekly
I'm
or
looking at
anything.
long Euro USD soonish.
But Forex is chart that price action is so much cleaner.
Yeah, I fucking missed 4 trades, bro. 4 fucking trades of this.
Bam, bam, bam.
It's
So
on my TD Ameritrade. So with stocks, the strategy is it breaks. Like right here, I missed Facebook to the downside, Nvidia to the downside, Tesla to the downside, AMD to the downside, Apple to the downside. Like they all hit. I was just doing TA on GBP, JPY on my other thing. So I missed all these fucking shorts and I had them lined up right here.
That's another reason why I don't like trading multiple markets, and what kind of makes me not want to trade for it. That's like that's the main thing, other than just capital, is that you're just like, I feel like it's dope, but it's also like you got to have like you would almost want to trade different sessions or something, because it's like you can't.
Yeah, like the GBP, JPY, I wouldn't get into it until tomorrow, probably until I see a reaction, because that's on a 4-hour chart.
Yeah.
It's already reacting right now, but obviously I want to see it.
I mean, it looks bearish as shit on.
break of structure, but over here it's a super simple strategy. Breaks below this and you're under VWAP, you sell. If it's above VWAP and it goes above that, you buy it. You can see it right here, this orange line. As soon as it falls below VWAP, you get a big displacement to the downside. That's true with stocks. I don't know with any other assets. But like I could have caught Microsoft to the downside. AMD hit TP1, TP2 is going for TP3 right now. Fucking Nvidia TP1 going for TP2. Facebook hit TP1, TP2. Like there's literally, if I would have been able to take all these trades, there's like $10,000-$15,000 on the table.
Oh yeah, I mean there is every day, bro. There's always a bunch of trades you could have taken. Like there's probably 20 trades we could have taken just in crypto.
Because just like Nvidia and AMD, if I would have taken both of those, I usually get around 10 contracts, right? It would have cost me for Nvidia 1,041, and they're chilling at 234 contract. So that's 100%. You just made $1,000 on that.
Yeah.
AMD, same thing, 1,500 is chilling. The high was $3, so you're up $2,000 on that. And this is literally, these are 5-minute candles, so that would have been break, right? 5, 10, 15 minutes on AMD, you're up $2,000. Over here, Nvidia, break 5, 10, you're up 1,000. It's crazy. Apple's paying right now.
FOMO.
Oh, bro, every day. It's okay though. We've learned to not have FOMO. All these breaks and structure, what have you learned? You break structure, you're always gonna have a pullback. Not immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's gonna be a pullback to come because these are displacements. and there's so much liquidity left at the upside.
Yeah. On GBPay, I'm just gonna call it GJ. I always fuck it up. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
GJ.
But
I get confused. I'm like, GJ.
on GJ,
JG.
weekly, you've got the way I see this is, you got your break of structure in the weekly, obviously. So, you're pretty high on your weekly range. You're seemingly have formed this weekly weak low. That would be a major target if you do reverse here. Now, on the daily, I don't necessarily see a sign of reversal just yet. On the daily, I would almost want more. Like I would want up here. But I mean,
168-ish.
yeah, it's like 166 to 167, that area. Maybe I should have, I'm gonna draw this wick up to that zone. The weekly high is like 168. So like then I see this liquidity here. Got swept. Now on the daily, I mean, you still look pretty, your internal structure is bullish. So I would be I'd wait like for 4 hour. Okay, you swept this liquidity, but you really just got to
I'm
break a
expecting a
structure.
4-hour pullback.
Yeah,
That's what I wanted to trade.
you
Because
just,
it hasn't really pulled back. If you look at the daily, it's all green candles.
yeah,
all the way.
exactly. So the 4 hour
So
right here,
it's
you
like,
got that break a structure. I mean, depending on how you draw, let's actually,
yeah, that was my
let's
break
see.
of structure right there. What you just drew.
Yeah, I mean, you could honestly
Right
draw it
there.
like
Okay.
this too, because like, so for instance, like, okay, well, here's your break of structure.
Yep.
So then this was your high, this was your low. Yeah, so then that would be exactly. So that would be the break of structure. So you could expect a pullback, and it's like, where are you gonna expect it?
I was
Well,
just doing 50%. I was doing a 160, 180. The pullback, the way it's I think it's the 50% if you pull the range fib.
yeah, we're on the daily, we're let's actually on the daily. I mean, really, this is no, yeah, no. On the daily, the 50%, we're in premium, cleared liquidity, but like the ideal entry for me would be like like this 166, really 167. That would be the
Up
zone.
there,
But
that's the 886. If I enter up there, I'm taking this shit to break that strong. Bro.
yeah, literally. But here, also you could, the only thing is for me, like the 4 hours bullish, the 15 minutes still bullish. I could see this zone being a reversal, but I just, 4 hour just seems like rally base rally. If I was trying to catch the full 4 hour pullback, I would potentially wait until I get like 15-minute swing structure bearish. Like I would want like the 4 hour change of character, like an internal structure. Which right now, what I'd want you to clear, I'd want you to clear 163.913. If you cleared that, then you could look for whatever supply sent you down in the 4 hour, wait till returns, watch for 15-minute change of character there, and just so on and just layer it. But if you could target, and then at that point, target like all these, just this structural low, this structural low right here. So ETH just swept that London low. See how she reacts here. Didn't really respect this demand. Cleared these lows. Maybe there was something over here. I'm not really seeing it. That's not anything that I would really care for. But you did just remove that liquidity. So now that London lows got taken, now, okay, well, it's not necessarily like, oh, just, on a buy day, I wouldn't want that taken. But that is going from like teachings that are based on Forex. But I don't like that. I don't like that we just blasted the demand. Yeah, it seems like a liquidity grab, we might get a reversal. But, at this point, I would just watch price as it comes up to this level, up in this region, see how you react. But looking at the 4 hour, I'm going to do this on a different chart because I don't want to delete my TA. Go on a 4 hour. Well, on a 4 hour, you really didn't get that internal structure break till there. It's perps, it's different. Or no, I'm sorry. That's what it was. I was drawing the wrong wick. There we go. You did get it right there. I was like, what? That usually doesn't happen. So then there's that. Move back up. So it's really your flip. I wouldn't really pay the M15 much more mind than the M1. So really in this area, you can look at this as like that's your first internal market structure break. We went over it, so I won't go over it again. As much as I like this setup, it's but I just don't like how far we've moved away from it enough to just set those limits and forget about them. But oftentimes you will see a price or a coin go down, and it like will clear out that local liquidity, then run all the way back up. And a lot of people close that are in shorts from up here. They'll close too early, or they get stopped at break even too early. But really, price was just coming up to mitigate a old supply that had to happen. What's up, Glacier? I just want to say you're in here.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Chilling.
Oh yeah.
Just straight in the spot right now.
You in puts or
Your
calls?
Warriors won last night, I see.
Hell fucking yeah. We
You got
creamed those
Longway?
guys.
I see you over there in the cut. Rolling doobies up.
Dog, I just saved some fucking puppies from under a shed.
Oh,
What?
Bro,
oh,
dog
push
had
up
puppies
pop.
under a shed, but I thought they were gone. Them shits were under there for 3 weeks, dog. I just fucking dug under there and Mario Bros. Them bitches.
Oh shit. Hopefully they're okay.
Yeah, they seem healthy as fuck.
You know
I
how
just
we
gotta
do.
get 'em- No, I gotta get them to some loving homes for a slight fee. You feel me?
I feel you.
What kind of dogs are they?
Chihuahuas. Like,
They're high grade dapple chihuahuas. Okay.
from the Himalayas. They're Himalayan Chihuahuas.
Man.
They look like
I'll try to
push up
throw
pops
some-
also.
I'll try to throw some pics up here in a second.
ETH price action's so weird. There's all these wicks.
Oh, did you guys see that article I posted yesterday that there was 4 mass shootings over the weekend?
Bro, there's been like 20 in the last 2 weeks. It's
There was
insane.
one here in Phoenix down the street from where I live. I'm like,
Oh,
what
shit.
the fuck? A 14-year-old girl got shot and killed.
In like school or what?
No, it was at a shopping mall, bro.
It's fucking awful.
And then there was one in Texas. There was one in Pennsylvania. Like, it all happened on Saturday. Like, these motherfuckers planned it. And they're like, all right, we're going to hit at the same time.
That shit's fucking
What?
awful.
It's fucking horrible. Oh.
Yeah. 15-minute structure 2 is seeming to shift bearish. It's almost kind of looking like that other days in PA where you had this like huge liquidity rate up and you still got that closure above. Or this one actually you didn't. I thought you did. Maybe it was Ethereum you did. One of them you got a closure above the wick, but yeah, that lick raid, and then that's when the price action really started to shift. So I'm not really rushing anything here. Let it develop. Cleared that London low, so you're probably going to see a little bit of a push to the upside now. There was a ton of liquidity there. They just got swept.
Yeah, no.
Watch AMAX too. It was setting up something nice earlier. Sleepy today. Oh wow. Oh, never mind. This is not the stuff I was thinking of. This still looks good though as well. I'd like this to get cleared, but let's look at this. What's the break? Still really haven't gotten pushed back up into this area. I mean, I guess you could say that this may have been that, but this looks like low time frame distribution. Like price pulled up, swept liquidity, and then you started seeing those signs of weakness. Oops. You could really watch both of these areas. I'd rather have the farther one up though. Let me go back to this 4-hour POI as well and refine it a little bit. This should be like the ideal zone to hit. Maybe it was this flip zone down here. Yeah, that could have very well done too, because a lot of selling came in there. A lot of liquidity got swept. I don't know. So when you really dissect it, and bear with me because this is going like super in depth. Like, okay, when we look at this zone right here, so when I see this action up here, like, so here's your low. You come up, you pull back, and you form a new high right here. So, you know, then we have this low and an immediate another high. You know, looking back in hindsight, you can't really tell what happened here when you're really trying to dissect it because, for instance, you know, if this happened and then this high happened first, you know, that this would be a bearish change of character. Like if we came down here and you made this low made a new high, you had that bullish change of character there, and then you swept down, you know, that would be a change of character. So if you're watching this, you know, at real time, you saw this candle from a low, new high, and then you saw the low get taken. So you understood that was a shift in structure. But if you look at the 1 minute, that's exactly what happened. Price came up first, and then it took the low. So then if that's the case, okay, well then this whole zone right here, that zone would be, you know, your initial supply zone. So price came down right here, took the low, then formed that new demand, pushed back into this supply. Supply was respected. And then if you draw this was your ideal flip zone. This is really kind of dissecting it, and look what happened. You had inducement there, price came into it, and then you even got a second entry. Now that was like your 15-minute flip zone. We just refined it. So then price came up into that zone. What did we get? Okay, here was your internal structure break. So, okay, newly introduced supply. Bam, tagged. And then you get that inducement for people who put stops to break even too fast, or I don't know why you would have put them anywhere else. You could have even used the internal high and it didn't get tagged, which is right there. It almost got tagged, but it didn't. So that high was protected. Then we saw the same thing again over here. But really, you know, you could have entered off of this zone. That would have been your 1 minute confirmation entry using internal structure. And you had liquidity getting swept twice. God, that was a nice setup. Oh bullshit! That was actually really clean. That's just how simple. Like I was sitting here looking at it, I had this zone marked up, so I'm like, wait, what if that low got taken there? What if that was actually a change of character and you don't see it? But that's why it's important to understand what you're looking for. You're looking for that internal structure, which is just your, you know, okay, if this candle makes a new high after it, that's a low. For instance, here was a low. Right here, new high. Okay, pullback. This candle doesn't make a new low, so it's not a high. This one does, new high, and so forth. You can continuously do that. But if you look here, we had that pullback, right? You know, new high. But then right here is where it's easy to get tripped up because which happened first? Did this high get taken or not? And I'm sorry for those of you who understand it. I know I'm reiterating it, but I know a lot of you probably don't. So, you know, the new high comes down. Now you say, well, which one was the high or low here? Which happened first? Because if this say if this happened and then the high or let's say the low happened got cleared first, that wouldn't be the same scenario. Because then you would have had the high get cleared again. Now you're bullish again, but you didn't. You had that low get cleared after the high was taken. So that was your change of character. Then you can dissect and find that flip zone, and then from there, that's how you could have really got the sniper entry. But at this point, you know, I would still watch this POI right here, but it may not return to it. Who knows? Got that nice little push after that London low was cleared. And that could be a liquidity rate as well. You could have maybe caught some scalps here. I don't know. I wouldn't have taken anything probably. Theoretically, you had that little ICT setup right here. Broke that internal market structure, came up, formed a fair value gap. Maybe could have traded that, but you know, your TPs would not be that extended. Probably see some consolidation through the lunch hour, New York lunch. What's good old Bitcoin doing? I would like a return up into this area. That would be ideal. And you could watch for that 1 minute confirmation. And I would short from there if we could get 1 minute double confirmation. Really wasn't much of a setup during the kill zone either. From 7 to 9, it was really boring there. I haven't looked at Sol at all today. These lines from. I saw liquidity definitely got removed. Using the institutional candle theory, if you're using that right there, it hasn't gotten mitigated. I think I drew this actually from a 15-minute, but really this whole 4-hour candle. I think a lot of the, I mean, this took off quick. Yeah, I'd be waiting on a return up to here on a lot of these. I don't like this. Like how, when you have like that kind of fast move away, like for instance, here, if we came down and clicked here, you know, that'd been nice if we would have came out mitigated. When you have those fast moves down or fast moves up, they leave those that structural liquidity that almost always gets swept with a return back into the area that's not been satisfied yet. They just remove a lot of sell side, so Yeah, I would just chill right now and just see how this unfolds. Main setups I'm watching though are Bitcoin, AVAX, and Ethereum.
There was a dude that was delivering Domino's in his Porsche, and people were like, "Uh-oh, recession is here."
Jesus. Also, when you're using this internal structure, it's kind of weird. Like you can see, like the like a lot of times like this is really the ideal area. But if you see these quick moves back up, like maybe if it moves into this candle and reverses, you can see a lot of opportunities off that as well. But I don't like taking those, to be honest. They do hit sometimes, but I don't like. I'd rather just take a trade for my original POI if I have like this one's pretty clear to me. There's displacement after it. It's the last candle before the big down move. It's an inside bar. That's the kind of stuff I like to play. But you can see as the intraday price action pings around, what is it having? It's just going for different areas of liquidity. So what happens? Oh, it has to go here, sweep some highs, gave some little quick short entries. What do we have to do next? We had to remove sell side, clear out the early long. So price came down. Bam, think of it like this. It's just fueling up. Price came here, fueled up to go down, came down here. It had, sorry, didn't anchor right. Came down here. It had, filled up enough fuel or orders to go long. Came up. Where did it go? Came up and targeted the sell side. You have to keep the high time frames in mind. This is just an example, but then we came up in a high under this POI that we had already established. Then what? Then price does that double liquidity grab, like we come up into it, push back up, double sweep. Then you start to see the signs of a reversal. That's how you start to build your narrative of what's going on. Now you may have taken shorts up there depending on whatever your trigger is, but where do we refine this to? Or was it refined? No, it's not. It's just this whole zone. But it's came back up in this area. So if this is going to be, we're going to cement these as weak lows in the 4 hour, you want to see the M15 start to shift or bearish here, which we're just beginning to do so. But on that note, I'm going to hop off here, guys. We've been running for like an hour and 45. I know it's not as long as usual, but I'm going to let these setups develop to kind of touch back on what I'm looking for. I want Bitcoin to return up here, see signs of a 1 minute reversal. You could target these lows for intraday trades, or wait for a double 15-minute confirmation, and then you could start targeting those weak 4 hour lows, because until then you can't go crazy with your targets. So if you short right now, you can't really target anything down here, because you're still in a bull trend on 15-minute and everything else until you really get that double confirmation. But AVAX, same thing. I just want all these prices to move back up to these zones. 1 minute confirmation, you might get some scalps there. Once you remove that sell side, price will come up. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, at least. Got to wait and see what happens, and that's why I really like using the low time frames as you enter these POIs. But anyways, as always, I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, just add me in chat. I don't know if you guys will be in stock chat later. I might hop in. I'm not sure, but if not, I'll holler at you guys tomorrow. Peace.